Good morning from subtropical South Carolina. This is our third morning after low 30-degree nights, and I am shocked by what is surviving. You can see the milkweed going to seed. Canna lily blooming, myrtle still changing with the autumn colors, dropping its leaves. But the biggest surprise is this tomato plant. Yes, it's December 21st. Officially the first day of winter, and I have blooming milkweed and monarch caterpillars. But look at this tomato. Last week it was covered in sweet little yellow blossoms, but we had at least 24 hours of continuous rain, and that knocked off all the tomato blossoms and most of the pepper blossoms. But look at the resilience of this tomato plant. We're supposed to get a warm up, and if we do, I suspect this plant will blossom again. Will it stay warm enough long enough to get tomatoes? Well, I did the first winter I was here. I had tomatoes all winter. I had a few the second winter, and we had a 4-day terrifying freeze. I was sure that I lost everything, but I didn't. But I did lose a lot. This tomato plant just really amazes me. He's nestled in here behind the canna lilies, behind some native grass. On this side, a sweet red hibiscus. More canna lilies behind me. The most interesting thing about this tomato is I didn't even plant it. It's from a cherry tomato that dropped last year, overwintered, went to seed, came out beautifully in the spring, gave me a few tomatoes. Then we had a hard summer. I'm going to admit, sometimes I forgot to water it. So it went through a really rough patch and things cooled off and it came back again. So here we are. Oh, there's a little blossom. Coastal South Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a tomato. It is. December 21st. Tomatoes in the garden. Look at this canna lily showing off. Such a sweet red. And some milkweed seeds for spring monarchs. And this clear blue sky we have today. There is not a cloud in the sky. I'll take it. I came out here for the first time around 7 a.m. this morning, and it was 37 degrees, and there was ice on my windshield. Ice on my windshield. I'll show you how the rest of the garden's doing. It's a guava tree. It likes this sunny, shady spot. Can you hear the hawk? Little cactus that I wild foraged. Some mother-in-law tongue. It's going to be the first year I leave this in the ground. I divided it into 3 sections, 2 here on the ground, and I have 1 indoors just in case it doesn't make it. The prickly pear cactus, I just wild foraged 1 section from the beach, and it was doing really well here too until I chopped it up with the weed eater. I was just sick about that. Little oak tree. Marigolds are taking the cold hard. You can see it in the greens and the flowers. But I had my best marigold season ever. It's another little oak. I made a video yesterday. I forgot to mention the avocado trees. I have about 5. It looks like sunburn. This happened before the cold. Avocado, rosemary hanging out together here. Use the marigold, mint, and rosemary as pest control. Works really well. Here's a good look at the guava. I do a mixture in containers. It increases my success. So here I have some zinnias, rosemary for pest control. I forget the name of this pretty little white flower. I believe it's a wildflower. But most amazing, after 3 nights in the low 30s, I still have sunflowers. I didn't think this little lovely would make it through these temperatures, but here she is. I like the sunflower because it grows more along the stems and you can see them. It's going to be one right there, there, and each one of these puts out a sunflower. So unlike the mammoth where you get 1, this one just keeps giving. I don't know if it'll do that in December, but they did all summer. It's such a pretty color. I hope she makes it. I've bunched all these together, hoping they absorb the sunlight throughout the day. Maybe put off that heat throughout the night. Not as pretty as they were a few weeks ago, but jalapeno's still producing. There's a giant one around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Look at the size of this one. It's not quite ready. And here we are, December 21st, blossoms. This one was in a protected spot. He survived the rain. Some aloe vera. There's some more prickly pear. This is my first year to grow Loquat. I have two trees. This large mother tree, all these blossoms and the honeybees have been all over them. First time I tried Loquat was in 2012, right here on this island. And this is our first fruit. If you haven't tried Loquat, it's different. I really can't describe it. It's sweet. It's been a while. But I'm impressed with the amount of blossoms this first year. How fast it grew. I would say it doubled in size easily. I brought this home in the back of my truck, which was loaded with all sorts of supplies. And it's done well. I got this at a private nursery in Ridgeland, South Carolina. I remember the name Phoenix. Phoenix something farm. Nice little family. Just getting started. And there's the second tree that came with it. It has also doubled in size. They were in the same pot, same container. I won't be surprised if that doesn't blossom next year. And if it isn't as tall as its parent here. But I'm not gonna count my Loquat before they ripen. Rosemary in December. I use rosemary for everything. If something's wrong, try rosemary. Zinnia, still going. Mexican sunflower. They are trying to survive. I couldn't remember the name of this one yesterday. Coreopsis. Sweet. It's mostly going to seed now. Zinnias as well. Should be seed for next year. I snacked on figs yesterday, straight from the tree. This is the third crop of figs. There's probably 30 or 40 on the tree. Again, I don't know if they'll continue to ripen in these temperatures. And the new growth is coming. So you can continue to garden all winter in coastal South Carolina. Here's a blanket flower right next to the sunflower. And here's the blanket flower going to seed. And the blanket flower is still producing flowers. Late December. Until the rain, I had some sweet nasturtium flowers. Been blowing all the leaves in here, help keep it warm on these cold nights. More blanket flowers. Oh, here's a sweet little nasturtium. These are edible. Spicy like radish. This one is near the end. They have vibrant colors. In this container, I have quite an assortment. I'll start at the top with the papaya. I've been trying to grow papaya for 3.5 years, and the cold gets it every time. This is the second year, and I have one more in the backyard, so I'm hopeful. Yes, I've been pulling this into the garage when the temperature drops below freezing. We have rosemary, marigold, zinnia, mint. Oh my, what is this? Oh yes, that's mint. It's lovely. What else is in here? A little citrus tree. Lemon, I believe. A few others in there, I don't know the name. Pretty peach zinnia blossoming. Again, this is December 21st, 2023. First day of winter. Subtropical South Carolina. Another citrus tree. This will be the second avocado out of 5. Blackberry bushes were still producing blackberries just a couple of weeks ago. First, second week of December. Blossoms and berries. Again, that heavy rain took off a lot of blossoms. This is my first olive tree. And again, in its first year, it has probably tripled in size, if not quadrupled. I should have measured it. Seems happy here. Pomegranate has lost most of its leaves. A few holdouts here at the top. I'm actually leaving the weeds and adding leaves, leaving the clover, just about anything that grows in there with it this winter to keep it warm. Seems to be working. I believe that's chickweed. Over here, some agave, a yellow hibiscus, still blooming. I wish there was one open right now. This is an incredible yellow. As time goes by, it turns orange. I'm really happy with this. Just added that this year as well. Look at the size of this agave. Okay, I'm a little proud of this. It was here when I bought the property, but I've been tending it almost 4 years. And I hope it's gonna be around for many more. I have marigolds nestled in here, but they're about done. As you can see, I've put on a thick layer of leaves here, keeping the ground warm. There's so many seeds there. In the spring, I'll pull back a lot of those leaves that haven't disintegrated. Let the sun get to the seeds. A little more coreopsis here. Coreopsis with the blueberry. This was my first year to eat fresh blueberries. Again, just not expecting these sunflowers to make it in December. Will it get to bloom? I don't know. My best nasturtium ever. Look at the size of these leaves. This is a happy nasturtium. It's in here with mint, zinnia. Mint's very happy in this container, which I found interesting. The mint in the containers is doing better than mint on the ground. The leaves are larger, thicker stems, bushier plants. On the ground for some reason, quite scraggly, is that a word? But in the containers, it's just perfect. I'm going to continue to do both because I like the mint for the ground cover. The red banana, this was a gift from a neighbor. There's a citrus tree here, nestled in the nasturtium. I'm hoping the nasturtium will keep it warm during these cold nights. All these zinnias are from seeds. I actually haven't bought zinnia seeds in 3 years. It's the gift that just keeps giving. Another lemon tree. Maybe orange. Rosemary. And here are the carrots. Carrots going to seed. And they're fine after 3 nights in the low 30s. Look, this one's about to open up. So pretty. Who knew carrots made such pretty flowers? I'm going to admit I didn't. Can you hear the birds? They like my garden. I have a bird bath for them. I didn't check to see if it froze. I had ice on my windshield. I think I mentioned that earlier. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Zinnia. Had so much trouble with this kale. I actually planted it last winter. I think maybe its growth was stunted. It didn't do much in the spring or summer. And then I went away for a few weeks. And when I came back, oh, there was 5 times this much. And it was enormous. Maybe I was overwatering it. Maybe I was fussing about it too much. But I left it alone and came back and it was fabulous. We've had 3 meals for 3 from this container so far in the last 3 weeks. That's 3, 3, and 3. And it's keeping the zinnia company. Another citrus tree. Marigold. Little rosemary. Again, I just put a sprig of rosemary in every container for pest control. I don't do anything but water it, and it takes root. So I probably right now have 200 or 300 rosemary plants. How about this rattlebox? Blooming here in December. I planted for the pretty blossoms, but the seed pods are a lot of fun. When they dry out, you can shake them. Sound kind of like, is it a maraca? Those little musical instruments sound like seed shaking inside. I think they're maracas. That's wild foraged. I just tossed seeds in the garden and here they are. Okay, I'm going to share with you my favorite edition of 2023. It doesn't look like much right now, but this little stem, it's so tiny it's hard to get it to focus on it. And you can see this little stem here going to the ground here is an Osage orange tree. I spent 5 days in the forest looking for Osage orange trees. I found 25 mature trees and about a dozen young ones like this one. So I kept it, I dug it up, I kept it for about a week where I was in Kentucky. And it traveled over 600 miles with me. It took me another week before I got it planted. So that's a hardy tree. The root that I brought is about 2, maybe 3 feet long. Beautiful orange root if you ever want to dig one up. I'm really excited about this Osage orange. If you're not familiar with this tree, the wood is yellow. The tree, especially the new growth, is orange. It has these thorns. You can see even this tiny tree has thorns. And it's used to make bows in archery, furniture, hedgerows, because nothing wants to go through an Osage orange tree. It has a lot of uses. Look it up. I think you'll like it, and like me, you'll probably want one. I started growing them about 20 years ago, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to them, so I was really happy to find so many, like over 40. And this is the money tree, or bay leaf tree. And I found one, and I wild foraged it, brought it home, planted it, was using it in the kitchen. And one day, like I sometimes do, I accidentally killed it with the weed eater. I was really sad because, I mean, it's the money tree. It's supposed to bring good fortune. And it's delicious in soups and stews. So I was really sad about it. I was thinking about going and finding another. There's so many in the forest. And while I was weeding, I found this one. It came up all on its own, right here in the middle of the garden. So, our second money tree. Funny story about the crepe myrtle. You can see it's lost most of its leaves. I have 7 here in the center garden. I had no intention of planting myrtle. I have one. I'm quite happy with it, and it keeps me busy. So when I was pruning the crepe myrtle, I used some of the limbs as markers for other plants that I was planting. Yes, out of about 12, 7 have become trees. And they're growing so fast, I'm considering keeping them. We'll provide some shade here, and I could plant more shade-tolerant plants here in the center garden. I didn't put the Spanish moss there. This recent storm sent it. That was another surprise, right next to the money tree. It's pretty cosmos. Again, I haven't bought cosmos seeds in 3 or 4 years. Some more rattlebucks. And this is what the seed looks like when it dries out. Let's see if it's ready. No, the seeds are still moist inside, so they're not going to make music. Yes. Another week of drying out and they'll be making music. I've never made a 30-minute video before, so I'm going to close out here. In the future, I'll make a video and let you know if this papaya makes it through the winter. It won't be for lack of trying. Have a great Thursday, and I'll check in again soon.